What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. What's going on, Seasoned family?
What it do? What's good? Hey, man.
Hey, how you? I see you got the voice back. You must have been on that milk and honey over there.
You know what I'm saying? Look, guys, I got to apologize to the family. Look, your girl was down bad. I had laryngitis for like 2.5 weeks. I couldn't even talk. We missed you guys terribly, but thank you for your patience. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for the well wishes. But we back up in here. I'm working at about 90%, but hopefully you guys can hear me. And hopefully, we're going to go ahead and knock this episode out. You ready, Skills?
She can talk shit again, y'all. That's basically what she said.
She.
I'm ready.
All right. So we have all met somebody who looked good on paper. A great job, good reputation, impressive resume, all the boxes checked. But somehow the connection just didn't work. Today we're asking the questions, are we choosing people based on checklists instead of real compatibility? So we're going to talk about it. Why good on paper doesn't always translate into good in practice. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. So my question for you is, why do people rely so heavily on checklists when choosing friends or a partner?
I've never really been like the checklist type, me personally. I definitely have preferences for sure. You know what I'm saying? But I think in this season age, I'm definitely a little more open and a little more understanding to some things and a lot less understanding to others, right? So I don't really have a checklist. I know lots of people who do. I know people who post them up and, it's hard, fast rule, gotta have X, Y, Z, or, it's a done deal type thing. But I've learned, especially at the season age, that there's so many nuances to people. And I really feel like if people are so stringent on like those lists and things, that you have the potential to miss out on good partners and good friends because, who says that your list is right? You know what I'm saying? Your list could be flawed. Your list could be biased. Your list could be, it could be what you want, but not really what you need. So that's how I feel about checklists. What about you?
The honest to God's truth is I think people are delusional. I don't think people live in a reality world. I don't think people, when creating these checklists and creating these things that are ideal for them, we get stuck on what history has told us and what, we grew up knowing about supposed to be married by this age, supposed to have children by this age, supposed to be in a serious committed relationship by this age. That's not reality. That's not how life works. That's not how the world works. Of course, yes, anybody can have a vision board or a blueprint or a ideal as to what they want for their life. But reality is that you cannot create a list to create a man nor a woman, because what God did for us was make that list for us. You know what I mean? And let's just be real about it. Like, he made that list for us. So when we walk on that and walk on faith and believe in what's already been presented for us and stop trying to take control of what is already destined and what is already planned for us, I think we will realize that list can be balled up and thrown away because you're not in control. You're not in control. So, I mean, that's my view on it. You know what I mean? But y'all keep making y'all lists and see if y'all can check off those boxes and see how that works out for you.
Skill says y'all keep trying to check the boxes.
Keep
My
trying to check.
goodness. True. So
Because I'm always at the box.
Me too. That's probably part of the reason why I don't really have them. But so my question for you, what do you think, especially from a man's perspective, do you think matters more in the long run? Chemistry, character, or compatibility?
Um, you're asking me to choose between those things? Is what
I
you're
know,
asking me
right?
to do?
I know, we both are the like, it's all for me type people. But if you, I guess if you had to choose one, like, or prioritize one over the other, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Um, I mean, I think chemistry sometimes creates compatibility, so probably I would have to choose chemistry if because if you're not connected on that level, I don't know that it's probably connected on any level. So, but there has to be that chemistry there. So I would probably say that if I had to choose. But
okay, right. If you had to choose,
that's a tough.
it is often a challenge to choose
Ooh.
between multiple important things,
What about you?
Well, for me, out of those three things, there's one that is kind of like hands down, got to be there for me, and that's character. Like I don't care if we have chemistry and if we're compatible. If your character is lacking, it's absolutely not going to work for me. Um, I am too tied into, you know, I want to say like moral stuff. People like one of my biggest pet peeves in a friend or in a relationship is inconsiderate people. Like I can't stand people who are inconsiderate or not thoughtful, who only think about themselves, who, only look out for themselves. Those type of things really get under my skin. People who are just like not kind and people who are just, don't have others' best interest at heart. Those types of things just are impossible for me to overcome. So for me, it's definitely going to be character. And the biggest thing that I tell people about character, what I know for sure, is that character is not necessarily what you show to people. It's who you are when nobody's looking. And that's what says, the most about people. Sometimes I learn so much about a partner or a friend, not even about how they treat me, but how they treat other people. Like I observe how they're treating a waiter, or how they're treating a stranger, or how they treat a homeless person, somebody who they don't think can do anything for them or that's on a different level from them. And those types of things speak volumes to me about a person and, who they are and how they think. So for me, it's character, 100%.
Gotcha. And that makes perfect sense. So what happens, just hypothetically, what happens if they got the best character in the world, but then y'all get together and there's no chemistry?
The same thing that's going to happen if we get together and there is chemistry and they ain't got no character. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a no. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right,
going to be a no. That's the crazy part and the beauty in choice. You know what I'm saying? You get to choose what works for you and what doesn't. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I wish for all of us who are looking for anything that, we make good choices.
right, right. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. I don't know about that. That's some tough choices to have to make there. It's just yeesh.
In an
Yeah,
ideal world, you know what I'm saying? Most of us probably feel like, that's why we're still single, because we haven't met anybody that has the character, the compatibility, you know what I'm saying, and the chemistry. Like something's missing, you know what I'm saying? And so we're all kind of in search for that trifecta, if you will, to be able to kind of complete the puzzle, you know?
definitely makes sense. Makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that's a tough one. Y'all help us with this one. How about that? Our seasoned family out there, y'all reach out to us and tell us what you think. What's most important to you? Because I'm struggling with that one. I ain't even gonna lie. It just, help me.
Okay.
We've been trying to help
That
y'all. Help me. How about
that's
that?
right. We need help
Because
too.
I don't compromise when it comes to them three things. It's just, ooh,
That's right.
okay.
And we shouldn't have to. But again, like I said,
Mm,
that's, very likely the very reason why, people are still single. And so many of them are because something's missing. You know what I'm saying? You might find somebody who can, handle one, maybe even two. But that third one is like, and that's when
yeah,
that's when people have to consider settling or, all those things. And that's not even in my vocabulary. So here we are.
right, right.
So we are going to hop into our segment for this week, and we're going to do the sauce check. So both of us are going to share something that's currently bringing flavor to our lives, whether it's music, habits, a show, or an experience that we had. Maybe we can inspire you guys to in some way, and we are always happy to hear what's bringing some flavor to your life. So please share with us and the audience as well. So what's your sauce this week, Skills?
Um, you know, Mine, I would have to. I'm gonna brag on a couple queens in my life really quick that
All
are
right.
bringing some extra sauce to my life this week. Um, my daughter is working on music and she's writing music, and I'm just happy and proud about that because she's always been gifted and talented when it comes to music. She plays the piano, she sings, she has a beautiful voice, very, very talented. But she did not understand and not see the beauty in being able to write. And good old dad over here, knowing the business and knowing the industry, and been in the business and around the industry for so long. I know the importance of writing your own material, and I
Mm-hmm.
know that's where the true money is, and those publishings. So with that being
Very
said,
true.
she has now realized that old dad was right when he was preaching to her about writing and getting into it. So she called me and was like, Dad, I now get it. I see why you wanted me to write, because not only is she able to express what she's truly feeling and what she truly, what comes from her and what comes from her heart versus, singing what somebody else has written for her. And it's not really her story.
Right.
Um, she has found the beauty and the blessing in being able to write, and she's connecting with music on a whole deeper level now. So that has brought me
So
a lot of sauce this week. Um, yeah,
nice. Proud dad. That's so sweet.
yeah, yeah. You know it. What about
Cool.
you?
Well, so for me, I'm going to share a little guilty pleasure that I have. If you know me, you know I am what I call a hopeful romantic, not hopeless, but hopeful romantic. And my guilty pleasure, and I know I have lots of people that are right along with me in this boat, is watching shows, relationship shows, reality shows like Love is Blind. And so I was catching up on my episodes of Love is Blind this week. Don't be making that face. Don't do that. No judging. And there were two sisters on there. Usually we're often outnumbered on that show anyway. But there were two sisters on there, and they were shooting their shot and going through the process of the show. And there was a gentleman, an African American gentleman, who was kind of torn between which woman he wanted. And he really wasn't handling it the best, but he was, the process is to date multiple people, and you don't see them, you just build a emotional connection with them without seeing them. And then the process is that you build an emotional connection so strong that you know, want to get engaged and then married to this person, right? Without ever seeing them. Hence the title Love is Blind, right? So he was having a hard time kind of choosing. And, you know, one of the girls was kind of relaxed a little bit and kind of like, you know, kind of letting him try to go through the process. And the other one was pushing a little bit more like, you need to make up your mind. Like, I'm not trying to deal with nobody who's not trying to choose me type of situation, right? So at the end of the day, you know, it was starting to kind of get more complicated and more hurtful, you know, to the ladies because they were, you know, kind of cool as well on the girls' side because they actually can see each other and talk and communicate. And they knew that they were both kind of dating or seeing the same person. And at the long story short, you know, he tried to pick one, but he was teeter-tottering. And she just, you know, she excused herself. She chose herself, regardless of the fact that she really wants love. She really wants a relationship. And she had a good connection with him. But the fact that he could not, you know, 100% say, you know, what he wanted and that he chose her and it was her, she decided to choose herself. And I give her huge, big props for that on a, you know, national platform, under pressure, under lights, everybody's watching. And she, you know, she was hurt, of course, and she was crying and all the things. She had all the feels. But she decided to make the harder choice and choose herself. And so when she left, the other girl, he kind of was like, you know, basically like, okay, well, not that I was not going to choose you. I still was deciding, but basically he tried to go for the other girl that was still left. And she chose herself. She was like, it's a no for me. Like, you're not ready for this. You don't know what you want, you know, all the things. She read them from a very kind place. And she also chose herself. And for me, it was really, really happy to see. I was really happy to see that. I think that more women, especially Black women, need to make those types of choices when it comes to relationships, friendships, partnerships, business, all kinds of things. You need to make better choices for yourself. A lot of us have that intuition and we know, that our gut is telling us we're not sure about this or it's, you know, maybe it's not going to work. But since you are fearful of not having an opportunity again, sometimes people get into things that they know they shouldn't have in the first place. So that's what was giving me life this week.
Okay. I mean, you know, I only gave that look in the beginning because I think every woman that I know in my life right now is watching, you know, this show.
Yes,
And you know,
probably so.
I I'm not gonna lie and say that I have not watched it. I've watched it just to support the women in my
Mhm.
life that I know that are watching, and just to see for myself what it is and what it's about and all of that.
Mhm.
Um, you know, it's another one of those things that's just not reality to me. It's just not. It's not a reality situation. It's not an ideal situation for anybody. And I think if you're putting someone in a space to where they're not able to use their eyes, use all of their senses in order to find what it is that they want and what it is that they like. I get the concept of the show. I honestly and truly
Mhm.
do. I do. You know, and I do think that that is you know, very important because some people, once they can see, they're not able to use the other emotions and pick, you know, someone that is good for them because of what they do see. So I get
Right.
it. I get I get why the show is successful. But when you are putting someone in a situation to where they have found someone or found multiple people that they enjoy company, enjoy time with, and you put them on a time restraint and pressure restraint to choose and make a choice between those two people, and they have not been able to use all of their senses, which is the
Mhm.
sight part of it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think I think it's setting people up for failure. But you know, that's just one view, one opinion on the show. You know, all you people, Love is Blind fans out there, including my sister, y'all don't come for me because I know y'all I know y'all love the show. But what
Not
reality
gonna come for
says
you.
is, but what reality says is that y'all typically wouldn't even go on a blind date in real life. So why are we so invested in this damn show that is doing just that? But okay, I
Okay.
digress. Yeah.
All right, so Seasoned family, if this conversation made you think about your own checklist, share this episode with someone who's navigating relationships, friendships, or big life decisions. Follow us, subscribe, share Seasoned AzF for more real conversations. And no matter what you do, always stay
Easy.
seasoned. Y'all have a great week.
Peace.